نحمده ونستعينه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد ومن يعصهما فإنه لا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا. أما بعد فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أعاذنا الله وإياكم والمسلمين منه. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, last time I was here, we kind of reviewed what it means, the concept of الصحة النفسية in Islam, mental and psychological health in Islam. And we did talk about the view of Islam, how Islam strives to build a well-rounded human being, a healthy human being mentally and psychologically. And then remember, the reason we talked about it because of, the incident that we had about a month ago here in the community as a result of depression. And I hope you could think about that type of individual, that type of Muslim who has that level of mental and psychological health, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want for each and every human being, requires work. That individual is not just created in a vacuum. Requires work, requires a lot of inputs, and those also who are responsible for bringing that individual, for manufacturing that individual, if you like, for producing that individual, also themselves require some skills and some inputs. And those inputs, clearly, as we talked about, first of all is Iman, second is Ibadah, and third, as we said, how Islam strives to produce this individual, is skills. And inshallah today, because each and every one of us, as I have shared with you last time toward the end of the khutbah, we're all responsible. We're all responsible for producing this individual, this healthy Muslim and Muslimah. As parents, as well as community leaders, we're all responsible and ultimately liable and accountable in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And today, I wanted to basically just touch upon the fundamental responsibility that each and every one of us has. And that responsibility is a tarbiyah. Because that individual that is Iman, he's strong, Ibadah, strong, has skills. As we talked about how the Prophet ﷺ raised the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, that have led to them having a good mental and psychological health. In order to do that, that only goes through the channels and through the institution or the job of a tarbiyah. And a tarbiyah literally is a responsibility for those of us who have kids, as well as those of us who are also in the community or responsible of our Islamic organizations. And a tarbiyah is a corollary of al-mas'uliyah, is a byproduct of al-mas'uliyah. And as remember, we said al-mas'uliyah is actually taklif followed with muhasabah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put on our shoulders responsibilities, and He will hold us accountable. He will ask us about those responsibilities or those assignments that He has given us. And one of the fundamental responsibilities, mas'uliyat, is mas'uliyat tarbiyat al-awlad, is the responsibility of bringing or of producing this human being that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. And remember, we talked about كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته فالإمام راع وهو مسؤول عن رعيته والرجل في أهله راع وهو مسؤول عن رعيته والمرأة في بيت زوجها راعية وهي مسؤولة عن رعيتها إلى تتمة الحديث. So we are a father, the man is liable, is responsible, as well as the mother, the husband and the wife, we are responsible. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us في سورة التحريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا. O you who believe, save, protect yourselves and your offspring, your spouse, your offspring from a hell fire. Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَسْأَلُ الْوَالِدَ عَنْ وَلَدِهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ قَبْلَ أَنْ يَسْأَلَ الْوَلَدَ عَنْ وَالِدِهِ. Allah Azza wa Jal will ask us about our children before He asks them about us in terms of birth. And many of us, we put a lot of emphasis on, we judge how close our children are to us based on how dutiful they are to us. درجة البر برهم إلينا. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, here Imam Ibn al-Qayyim is explaining that we will be first asked about our responsibilities toward them before they are asked about their responsibilities toward us. And he also continues, فَمَنْ أَهْمَلَ تَعْلِيمَ وَلَدِهِ مَا يَنْفَعُهُ وَتَرَكَهُ سُدًى فَقَدْ أَسَاءَ إِلَيْهِ غَايَةَ الْإِسَاءَةِ وَأَكْثَرُ الْأَوْلَادِ إِنَّمَا جَاءَ فَسَادُهُمْ مِنْ قِبَلِ الْآبَاءِ وَإِهْمَالِهِمْ لَهُ. He said that anybody who does not uphold this responsibility of raising children about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants them to learn and acquire, they have actually put them or has set them on a path of ruin. Okay? And he said that when you see children and you see their misdeeds, their misbehaviors, the reason and the cause is stemming from what their parents did in their tarbiyah, in their upbringing. التربية لغة تشمل النمو والزيادة or growth or التنمية والتغذية or development and nurturing, and it also means الإصلاح والتوجيه or reforming and orientation. And وفي الاصطلاح قالوا أن التربية is to bring an individual little by little, meaning that it is a sequential operation to the point that this individual reaches al-kamal wa-tamam, that the individual reaches a level of perfection and a level of completeness. And so it is a bina, it's a construction, it's a building. Therefore it is over time. It's not only something that just happened, in a day, in a month. It is شيئا فشيئا, بمعنى أن هي عملية فيها تدرج. It is sequential, it is little by little, and also إلى حد التمام والكمال, which means to the level that the individual by himself or herself is actually a complete individual from all his or her aspects of being. And this means that a tarbiyah is something that is وعمل هادف. It is very oriented. It is very goal-oriented. It has a goal. It has a goal that the parents and the community at large strive to achieve. And indeed, al-madda al-kham, the raw material, is a human being, is a tifl, is a human being that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided the parents and the community to bring him or her to this level that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. And so the first characteristics, the first requirement for us as parents is to understand khasa'is al-numu. Khasa'is al-numu, the characteristics of growth of a human being. How does a human being grow? From when they come out to this world, to the first year, to the second year, and so on, until they are well developed. And so it is very important, first of all, as parents and as adults, to understand what it means for an individual to grow. There are khasa'is jismiyah. For example, the body needs to grow and needs to be nurtured in a particular way. And it is our responsibilities as parents to understand and to learn the skills necessary to fulfill the needs of this growing body that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has entrusted with us. Second, al-khasa'is al-aqliyah. There are characteristics of the mind, of the brain. Many of us who have parents, we all know when our kids reach the age of 2, and in the contemporary culture, that age is called the terrible 2s. Why? Because those individuals, those 2-year-olds, human beings, everything to them is why. لماذا? Why? And many of us complain. Many of us complain. يقول لك والله أخي محمد ولا عائشة, they're so difficult. ولا Muhammad is not like أخوه Abdullah. Abdullah never asks us questions. But it is important to understand that at that age, at those young years, asking questions is one of the tools that we as human beings, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed us to develop our brains and our minds. And many of us parents, because we grew up in cultures that we're not supposed to ask questions, in particular to the adults and in particular to the parents. If the dad or the mom says something, it's done. You have to take it. We don't know how to deal with questions. And so that is why the experts say أسئلة الطفل هي وسيلة مهمة من الوسائل التي تساعد على نمو عقله. Asking questions is one of the tools that we human beings use to develop our minds and our brains. And so for us parents, they say, we need to understand this. 2, عدم نهر الطفل عن السؤال والطلب منه عدم السؤال. It is wrong to tell a child when he asks a question, don't ask it, or that's a stupid question, or never ask a question. 3, الإجابة عن جميع الأسئلة دون تهرب. A lot of times, and many of our kids in particular, in this country and in this time that we live in, our kids will come and ask us, what is God? What is Islam? Why do we pray? Why do we have to make wudu? Why this? Why that? And a lot of times we are so scared. And we just tell them, be quiet. Don't ask those questions. And so we need to learn how to deal with those questions and to answer them at the level of their intellect and at the level of their minds. The fourth skill أن يكون ما نقدمه من إجابات صحيحا وليس كذبا. When we answer our kids, either our own or our kids in the masjid or at school, we have to tell the truth. And so one time, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Abdullah ibn Umar called Abdullah, and many of us do this. Come here, and I will give you something. But the plan, when I tell my son or any other kid at the masjid, come here and I would give you something. I'm not going to give him something, I just want him to do something for me. And so here the Prophet ﷺ said to her, she said, تعال أعطك فسألها عما ستعطيه. So the Prophet ﷺ was there and listened, and he asked her, what are you going to give him? فأجابته بأنها ستعطيه تمرا. فقال لها صلى الله عليه وسلم أما إنك لو لم تعطيه شيئا كتبت عليك كذبة. So he asked her, what are you going to give him once he comes to you? She said, I was going to give him a date. And the Prophet ﷺ said to her that in the case you were going to lie and you are not going to give him anything, it will be written against you as a lie. As a lie. Because in Islam, there's no distinction. We lie to our children, it's the same lie as if I lie to you or I lie to an adult. It's the same thing. And so it is so important that we understand these characteristics that are associated with growth, with numu, with development. There is also khasa'is nafsiyah, emotional and psychological characteristics that we all go through. And many of us, we go into these battles with our children. And many of us, we say, Muhammad is so stubborn. We tell him to do something and he's refusing. Or the same thing about Aisha. But it's human nature that young human being is actually realizing that he is an independent human being. And many of us, we struggle when we feed our young kids. The usual battles is the young baby wants to eat by himself or herself. And the mother or the father forcefully decide to feed the baby. And when we talk about it, we label the baby as being a difficult human being. Well, no, it is we who don't understand that now this individual, this human being, wants to exercise his independence. And he wants to basically just eat by himself because now he understands he can be independent of his mother or of his father. And so, to be able to understand the characteristics of growth is so important in bringing these individuals that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to bring. Also, many of us, and in here, I'll just point the finger at myself. Many of us, or when I got married, it was a very simple equation. You find a good wife, and many of us, in particular, we the men, we only think of salah as it relates only to the woman. Salah is a characteristic that we look for in the woman, in the bride. فَاظْفَرْ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ تَرِبَتْ يَدَاهُ. And Salah al-Walidain is actually حق الطفل. It is a right of the human being before he even comes to this world. He needs to have a father who is salih and a mother who is salihah. But we a lot of times, we ignore it. We ignore it. And we put the burden on the mother. The second thing also many of us, we grew up with the mentality that التربية هي مسؤولية الأم والمرأة. To raise children is the responsibility of the mother. We, the man and the fathers, our responsibility is to earn money, is to earn dakhal, is to earn a salary, is to secure food or a house. And once we finish, and you can think about, think about our cultures, and even here, we finish our job, and then we need to go to a cafe, to sip wine because our job has been done. We're supposed to work, we're supposed to earn a salary, and then we're supposed to provide for these human beings, and the mother is the one who's responsible for raising children. That is why, in particular, in Morocco, when the kid is good, turn out to be a successful human being, we say, هذا ابني, he is my son, or she is my daughter. We associate success when it turns out to be a success as a result or as a fruit to the father. But when that same individual turns out to be bad or does something wrong, we say, شفتي تربيتك? We turn to the mother and to the wife and we say, do you see your tarbiyah? This is your tarbiyah. Your tarbiyah has resulted in this. And this is in this division of responsibility. But in Islam, we will be held accountable, the father as well as the mother. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ادعوا الله وأنتم موقنون بالإجابة. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. In order to bring this individual, we have to understand that there are many skills and also information and knowledge that we need to learn. Because there are different aspects in this human being so that he turns out to be, as we said, إلى حد الكمال والتمام, to the level that he is perfect and complete. And there are many tools, وسائل التربية. And unfortunately, all of us, because we grew up with one وسيلة واحدة, وسيلة الترهيب والضرب. Is fearful, is to strike fear in the hearts of the young and to strike them or to hit them. But in Islam, there are many tools that Islam brought and the Prophet ﷺ have used in order to bring the Sahaba radiallahu anhum to the level that all of us read about and cherish and take as a role model. And so it is so important to understand and to learn these skills. And one of them is actually التربية بالحوار, with dialogue, talk, befriend. In particular, remember last incident that happens. It's so important that we befriend our young sons and daughters, and to literally just to listen to them and dialogue with them, and not to literally lecture and give orders. None of us, even we the adults, if we are being lectured, we turn away. Because we are being neglected. We are not being listened to. We are not being part of that discussion or of that exercise of learning. And so it is so important that we learn all of these different tools. The Quran is full of al-qasas, stories. And stories in the Quran are not for entertainment. It is for tarbiyah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us all these stories, some of them that gave good fruits, and some of them that gave negative outcomes. And those are actually ways to teach Muslims and to teach the readers of the Quran how to implement and how to take al-ibra, how to take lessons from what happens when we either follow the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or stray away from what Allah and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to raise these human beings. اللهم اجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول ويتبعون احسنه. اللهم اغفر لنا وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك يا مولانا قريب مجيب الدعوات. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم وأقيموا الصلاة